Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. Have you ever found yourself staring at a wall so high, so wide, so immovable that you felt stuck? Maybe it was in your finances, your relationships, your health, or your career. That wall seemed like it was laughing at you, daring you to find a way through. Let me tell you something. That wall is not permanent, and your situation is not final. God will make a way for you. I want you to picture this. You're standing in a desert. It's dry, it's barren, and it feels like everything you've been striving for has come to a halt. You're thirsty for a breakthrough, desperate for change. But then, suddenly, out of nowhere, a spring of water bursts through the ground. That, my friends, is what happens when God steps in. When it looks like there's no way forward, no hope, and no solution, He creates a path where there was none. But let's be real for a moment. Faith without action is like a car without gas. You can believe all day that a way will open, but if you're not moving forward, you're not giving God anything to work with. Action is faith in motion. When you keep showing up, keep pushing, keep believing, you're saying, God, I trust you to make a way. And He always does. Think about every story of breakthrough you've ever heard. People didn't just sit back waiting for the stars to align. They faced their fears, took a step of faith, and watched the impossible become possible. It's not because they're special or lucky. It's because they believed in a power greater than themselves, and they were willing to take the next step, even when they couldn't see the whole path. Now let's get personal. What's the wall in your life? What's the challenge that feels insurmountable? Is it a mountain of debt, a strained relationship, a dream you've shelved because you're afraid of failing? Whatever it is, I'm here to tell you that wall is not your prison, it's your proving ground. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who made water flow from a rock, who turned obstacles into opportunities, is the same God who will make a way for you. But here's the catch. You've got to stay in the fight. You can't let fear or frustration win. You've got to shift your mindset from why is this happening to me to what is this teaching me? Because every delay, every setback, every no is preparing you for something greater. Every closed door is just a divine redirection. When it feels like all hope is lost, I want you to remember this. God's delays are not His denials. Just because you can't see the way forward right now doesn't mean it doesn't exist. He's working behind the scenes, clearing the path, moving the pieces into place. Your job is to trust Him, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, even when it feels like nothing is happening. So today I challenge you. Stop staring at the wall and start speaking to it. Declare that it will come down. Take a step, even if it's small, and keep moving forward. Because the truth is, God doesn't just make a way for you, He makes a way through you. He works through your courage, your perseverance, and your faith. Let me leave you with this. There's a verse that says, I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. That's not just a nice sentiment, it's a promise. Your wilderness season is not permanent. Your wasteland is not the end of your story. God will make a way for you, and when He does, it'll be more than you could ever imagine. So rise up, take action, and trust the process, because your breakthrough is coming, and when it does, it will be worth every tear, every trial, and every step of faith. God will make a way for you. Believe it, claim it, and walk in it. Let's go. Obstacles are often seen as the most frustrating and discouraging parts of our journey. They appear like towering walls, blocking our path and making us question whether we're capable of moving forward. But what if we started to look at obstacles differently? What if, instead of seeing them as barriers, we began to see them as opportunities? Every great story, every remarkable success, and every breakthrough is rooted in the overcoming of challenges. Challenges are not meant to break us, but to shape us. They test our resolve, refine our character, and build resilience within us. They teach us lessons we might never learn if the path were smooth and easy. When you encounter an obstacle, it's easy to feel stuck. It's easy to fall into the trap of asking, why is this happening to me? But that question only keeps you focused on the problem, not the solution. Instead, the question we should ask is, What is this obstacle here to teach me? The moment we shift our perspective, we begin to uncover the hidden opportunities within our challenges. Obstacles force us to think creatively, to dig deeper, and to tap into strengths we didn't even know we had. They push us out of our comfort zones and demand that we grow. Think about a seed planted in the ground. At first, it's buried in darkness. It's surrounded by dirt, unable to see the light. But that dirt, that darkness is exactly what the seed needs to grow. The same is true for us. The obstacles we face may feel like dirt pressing down on us, but they're the very environment that fosters growth. Without resistance, there is no strength. Without struggle, there is no progress. The greatest opportunities in life often come disguised as insurmountable obstacles. History is full of stories that illustrate this truth. Consider inventors who faced repeated failures before finally achieving success. Each failure was an obstacle, but it was also an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to improve. Without those obstacles, their inventions would never have reached their full potential. Or think of athletes who faced injuries, setbacks, or defeats. Those challenges didn't end their careers, they sharpened their focus and deepened their determination. Their obstacles became the very things that propelled them to greatness. In our own lives, we often underestimate the power of persistence. When faced with an obstacle, our first instinct might be to give up or turn back. But persistence is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who fall short. Every time we push through a challenge, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of more than we thought. We build confidence and momentum, and we lay the foundation for future successes. Each obstacle we overcome becomes a testament to our strength and a reminder that we can handle whatever comes next. Sometimes, the opportunities hidden within obstacles are not immediately visible. It's only in hindsight that we can see how a particular challenge led to growth, transformation, or a better outcome than we could have imagined. That's why it's so important to maintain faith and perseverance in the face of difficulties. Trust that there is a purpose to your struggle, even if you can't see it right now. Trust that the obstacle is not the end of the road, but a detour that will take you to a better destination. Obstacles also have a way of revealing what truly matters to us. They force us to evaluate our priorities and clarify our goals. When the path is easy, it's tempting to drift along without much thought. But when we encounter challenges, we're forced to ask ourselves, why am I doing this? Is it worth it? If the answer is yes, the obstacle becomes a catalyst for commitment. It strengthens our resolve and reinforces our passion. If the answer is no, the obstacle serves as a valuable reminder to reassess our direction and make adjustments. One of the most empowering realizations we can have is that obstacles are not permanent. They are temporary conditions, not life sentences. Even the biggest, most intimidating challenges will pass if we keep moving forward. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection. It's not about overcoming the obstacle all at once. It's about taking one step at a time, no matter how small. Each step brings us closer to a solution, closer to the opportunity that lies on the other side. Obstacles also teach us about the importance of perspective. Two people can face the same challenge, yet one will see it as an insurmountable problem, while the other sees it as a stepping stone to growth. The difference lies in how they choose to view the situation. When we approach obstacles with a mindset of curiosity and possibility, we open ourselves up to creative solutions. We begin to see options we hadn't considered before. We find ways to adapt, to innovate, and to turn the situation to our advantage. Another powerful aspect of obstacles is their ability to bring out the best in us. They often reveal qualities we didn't know we possessed: courage, resilience, resourcefulness. These traits are often hidden until circumstances demand them. When we rise to the occasion and face our challenges head on, we discover a deeper well of strength within ourselves. We realize that we are more capable and more powerful than we ever imagined. Obstacles can also deepen our connections with others. When we share our struggles, we invite others into our journey. We give them the opportunity to support us, to encourage us, and to stand by our side. In turn, we inspire them with our perseverance and determination. Overcoming challenges together creates bonds that are stronger and more meaningful. than those formed in times of ease. Obstacles remind us that we are not alone and that we are stronger when we work together. Perhaps the most transformative aspect of obstacles is their ability to refine our purpose. When we face resistance, it forces us to dig deep and reconnect with what truly matters. It's in those moments of struggle that we gain clarity about who we are and what we're striving for. Obstacles strip away distractions and focus our energy on what's most important. They help us align our actions with our values and move forward with greater intention. Every obstacle you face has the potential to become a turning point in your life. The choice is yours. Will you let it defeat you, or will you let it define you? Will you see it as a barrier, or will you see it as an opportunity? The answer lies in your perspective and your willingness to keep moving forward. Faith requires action. It's one thing to believe that something is possible, but it's another thing entirely to take the steps necessary to bring it into reality. Many people sit on the sidelines of life, hoping, wishing, and praying for a breakthrough, but they never move. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect opportunity. But faith doesn't work like that. Faith demands movement. It demands that you step out even when you can't see the full picture. It demands that you trust the process, even when there's no visible evidence that things will work out in your favor. There's a difference between passive belief and active faith. Passive belief is saying, I trust that things will change, but doing nothing about it. Active faith says, I trust that things will change, and I'm going to take the steps necessary to meet that change. If you're waiting for a door to open but you never get up and knock, how can you expect anything to happen? If you're believing for an opportunity but you never prepare yourself to step into it, how will you be ready when it comes? Faith without action is empty. It's like having a car with no gas. It might look good sitting in the driveway, but it's not going anywhere. The world is filled with people who have dreams, but only a fraction of them take the necessary steps to pursue those dreams. That's because action requires courage. It requires stepping into the unknown. It requires risk. And risk is uncomfortable. The human mind is wired for safety, for predictability, for comfort. But faith operates outside of comfort. Faith calls you to step out of the boat when the waters are still raging. Faith calls you to take the first step before you know where the second step will land. Faith says, move and the way will be made. Think about the most successful people in history. They weren't the ones who simply sat back and wished for things to happen. They were the ones who took action, who put in the work, who kept moving forward, even when they couldn't see the finish line. They had faith that if they kept showing up, kept knocking, kept pushing, the doors would eventually open. They weren't always the smartest, the most talented, or the most connected, but they were the ones willing to act. It's easy to fall into the trap of analysis paralysis. You overthink, overanalyze, and hesitate, waiting for all the pieces to come together before you take action. But that's not how breakthroughs happen. Breakthroughs happen when you move forward despite the uncertainty, when you trust that the path will become clear as you walk. Imagine a person holding a seed, believing that it has the potential to grow into a massive tree, but never planting it. They can talk about the seed's potential all day, but without putting it in the ground, watering it, and tending to it, that seed will never grow. Faith is like that seed. It's only activated through action. You have to plant the idea, nurture it, work on it, and give it the opportunity to grow. It won't happen overnight. It won't always be easy, but action sets the process in motion. Without it, faith remains a concept, not a force that creates change. Many people let fear hold them back from taking action. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. But faith is the antidote to fear. When you step out in faith, you silence the voices of doubt that try to keep you stuck. You take control of your destiny instead of letting your circumstances dictate your future. Fear will always be present, but it doesn't have to control you. The key is to take action in spite of the fear. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward despite it. Another obstacle that keeps people from taking action is the belief that they're not ready. They tell themselves they need more time, more knowledge, more experience. But the truth is, You'll never feel 100% ready. Growth happens in the process. Clarity comes through movement. If you wait until you have everything figured out, you'll be waiting forever. The most successful people don't wait until they feel ready. They start where they are with what they have, and they learn along the way. Faith also requires consistency. It's not just about taking action once and expecting immediate results. It's about persistence. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't see progress, even when you're tempted to quit. Faith is trusting that your efforts are not in vain, that every step you take, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to your goal. That the work you put in today is laying the foundation for the results you'll see tomorrow. Think about an athlete training for a marathon. They don't wake up one day and decide to run 26 miles without preparation. They train daily, they push through exhaustion, they run when they don't feel like it. They don't see the finish line during the training process, but they trust that the work they're putting in will prepare them for race day. The same principle applies to faith. You don't always see immediate results, but you trust that your actions are leading you toward the breakthrough you're believing for. One of the most powerful things about faith in action is that it creates momentum. The first step is always the hardest, but once you start moving, things begin to shift. One small decision leads to another. One step forward leads to the next opportunity. Doors start opening that you never even considered. The moment you take action, you send a message to yourself and to the world that you are serious about your goal, that you are ready for the opportunities that are coming your way. Faith in action also attracts the right people into your life. When you start moving toward your vision, you'll begin to meet others who are on a similar journey. People who can support you, guide you, and open new doors for you. But none of that happens if you stay still. The people you need will only show up when you're in motion. Sometimes the action you need to take isn't dramatic or life-changing. It might be something as simple as making a phone call, sending an email, or taking the first step toward learning a new skill. It might be waking up an hour earlier to work on your goals. It might be pushing yourself to step out of your comfort zone and take on a new challenge. The size of the action isn't as important as the decision to take it. People often underestimate the power of small actions taken consistently over time. They think that success comes from one big dramatic move. But in reality, it's built on the foundation of daily habits and consistent effort. The person who works on their craft every day will always surpass the person who waits for inspiration to strike. Faith requires endurance. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when you question whether it's worth it. But if you keep taking action, keep trusting the process, and keep believing that you are on the right path, you will see results. You will grow. You will move closer to your breakthrough. Faith is not just about believing. It's about doing. It's about stepping forward even when you don't have all the answers. It's about trusting that as long as you keep moving, the way will be made. God's timing is perfect. It's easy to get impatient when things don't happen on our schedule. We have plans, goals, and dreams, and we expect them to unfold in a certain way at a certain time. But life doesn't always follow our timeline. There are moments when we feel like we're ready, but the doors remain closed. We put in the work, we pray, we wait, and yet nothing seems to change. That's when doubt starts creeping in. We wonder if we missed our opportunity, if we're doing something wrong, if maybe what we're hoping for isn't meant for us. But the truth is, just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean things aren't moving behind the scenes. There's a bigger plan at work, one that goes beyond what we can see or understand. Timing is everything. A seed doesn't grow into a tree overnight. It takes time, the right conditions, and patience. The same principle applies to our lives. Sometimes we think we're ready for something, but God knows we need more preparation. Sometimes we want things to happen immediately, but the delay is actually for our benefit. What looks like a setback is often a setup for something greater. Waiting is not easy. It can be frustrating, discouraging, and even painful. We live in a world that values speed, instant gratification, and immediate results. But God operates on a different schedule. His timing is not based on our impatience. It's based on His wisdom, His knowledge of what's best for us, and His understanding of what needs to happen before we step into the next season of our lives. If we rush ahead of His plan, we can end up in situations we're not ready for. We can end up carrying responsibilities we're not prepared to handle. But when we trust His timing, we allow things to unfold in the way they were meant to. Think about the times in your life when you wanted something so badly, but it didn't happen when you expected. Maybe you were praying for an opportunity that never came. Maybe you were hoping for a relationship that didn't work out. Maybe you felt like you were stuck in the same place for too long. But looking back, you realize that if you had gotten what you wanted at that moment, it wouldn't have been right. You weren't ready. The circumstances weren't aligned. There was still something you needed to learn, experience, or develop before stepping into that next phase. God sees what we can't see. He knows what's ahead. He understands the obstacles, the challenges, and the lessons that need to be learned before we reach our destination. If He hasn't opened a door yet, it's because He knows the perfect moment for it to open. If He hasn't removed a challenge yet, it's because that challenge is shaping you into the person you need to be. Patience is not just about waiting, it's about how we wait. Do we wait with frustration, complaining about the delay, or do we wait with faith, trusting that there's a purpose behind the timing? The attitude we have during the waiting season determines how we experience it. If we spend the waiting period focused on what's missing, we'll miss the growth that's happening in the process. But if we embrace the waiting, knowing that it's part of the journey, we'll develop the character, strength, and wisdom we need for the next season. Sometimes we think we're waiting on God, but in reality, He's waiting on us. He's waiting for us to grow, to develop, to take the steps necessary to be ready for what we're asking for. We say we're ready, but are we truly prepared? Are we disciplined enough to handle the success we're praying for? Are we strong enough to carry the weight of the responsibility that comes with the blessing? Sometimes the delay is not about God withholding something from us. It's about preparing us to receive it. There's a reason why things happen when they do. There's a reason why some doors open quickly and others take time. There's a reason why some prayers are answered immediately and others require persistence. Every season has a purpose. The waiting season is just as important as the receiving season. The preparation season is just as valuable as the fulfillment season. When we understand this, we stop fighting the process and start trusting it. The most successful people are those who understand the power of timing. They don't rush ahead just because they're impatient. They don't force things to happen before their time. They trust the process. They prepare themselves. They use the waiting season as a time to grow, to sharpen their skills, to deepen their faith, and to build a solid foundation. Then when the opportunity finally arrives, they're ready to step into it with confidence. God's timing is often different from ours, but it's never wrong. It may feel like things are taking too long, but when the breakthrough comes, it will happen in a way that makes perfect sense. It will happen in a way that aligns with everything you've been through, everything you've learned, and everything you've been preparing for. The moment will come when you realize that the wait wasn't wasted. The delay wasn't denial. The process was necessary. Trusting God's timing means letting go of the need to control everything. It means surrendering our plans and being open to something even better. It means understanding that just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. It means believing that every closed door is leading to a better one. It means knowing that every delay has a purpose. It means keeping the faith even when we don't see immediate results. When we trust His timing, we stop stressing over things we can't control. We stop comparing our journey to others. We stop feeling discouraged just because someone else's blessing came before ours. Instead, we focus on what we can control: our actions, our attitude, and our faith. We focus on doing the work, staying disciplined, and becoming the person who is ready for what's coming. Opportunities will come when the time is right. The right relationships will happen at the right moment. The right breakthroughs will unfold exactly when they're supposed to. Nothing that is meant for you will ever pass you by. No opportunity that is truly aligned with your purpose will ever slip away. If a door closes, it's because it wasn't the right one. If something is delayed, it's because the timing wasn't right. When you understand this, you stop chasing things out of desperation and start walking in faith. Faith means trusting even when we don't understand. It means believing that everything is happening for a reason, even when we can't see it. It means knowing that just because things don't happen on our schedule doesn't mean they won't happen at all. The right things will come at the right time. The key is to keep moving forward, to keep believing, and to keep preparing for the moment when everything aligns.